Right. Welcome to the beginning of my ABC review series. Yes. I'm reviewing 26 movies, one for each letter of the alphabet. Yes, and like I said in my little shorts video, this is not my idea. I got this from Brian Lomax Movie Talk. He's doing it first, so it's his idea. I'm just sort of taking inspiration from him and doing my own. He is actually having people vote on his movies, which is cool. Now I just picked 26 movies. It took me about 10 minutes to figure out which ones to do. Maybe a little bit longer, maybe a half hour. But I even switched some out here and there through the night last night. So, by the way, I am recording this on a Thursday, but this is coming out on Saturday, and then the next will come out on Sunday, and then I'll just be cranking these out, probably multiples through the day. He's doing one each day, but I'm just going to crank them out. But for A, we have Alita, Battle Angel, a movie that came out in 2019 that I had no interest in seeing, because I was like, nah, it's not like anime, but this doesn't look like anything I'd be interested in. Well, then there was a few other internet reviewers, Drum Dum, Cody Leach, they were talking about, this should have a sequel. It's good, but it didn't do as good. And even the Nostalgia could have put out a review, and I'm like, okay, I think I need to buy this movie. But I didn't buy it yet, because my son and I found it on HBO, and we watched it together. And he liked it. And I thought it was okay. Yeah, and so rewatching it again, so I always say that when I watch a movie with my son, the enjoyment of watching it with him, is more than what it would be watching it by myself. So that's why I don't, sometimes I'll review movies if I watch it with my son. Like Luca is going to be one of those. I watched that with my son on Disney Plus. And now I'm going to watch it again on my own when I get the Blu-ray for December. There's a tip on one of the reviews I'm doing this year. So, giving this a rewatch, and I still like it. And I still want a sequel. But there are some issues I have with the film. Namely, it's too long. It's too long. And let me explain something. So James Cameron originally had the idea to make this film back in the 90s or early 2000s, whatever it was, like before Avatar. And then he did Avatar and never stopped trying to do Avatar because he's been working on the sequels for I don't know, over 10 years now. So, yeah. So eventually, James Cameron's too busy. He's got to do the Avatar sequel. So we got Robert Rodriguez, who's not known for doing big budget movies. He does weird CGI things with Shark Boy and Lava Girl, or vampire strippers in From Dusk Till Dawn. He doesn't do the big budget stuff. So you put these together, and what you have is a weird CGI Robert Rodriguez film with the running length of a James Cameron film. And there are things you could take out of here. Second half of the film specifically seems to drag to just one thing after another. Like there's this thing where these robot people are going after the boyfriend character and they want his head or whatever, and then it changes to, Alita's gonna go, she defends him or something, I don't know, but Alita's gonna play this rollerball game that they showed at the beginning of the film. The only problem is she should have done it at the beginning of the film, not an hour and a half into the movie when we should be getting ready for the climax. And you do this thing, and yes, I know, they're all coming after her. But, it's doesn't work. Just not the time to do that. You could have opened a sequel with this scene. Seeing as, I don't know, this one ends with her going to play the rollerball game. Then after that, you continue with, the boyfriend gets killed, and then they turn him into a robot. So we end here, right? He's a robot. Nope! We gotta do exactly what the anime did, and have him go up the little thing to Zoran, or whatever it's called, and do a speech that's not as good as the anime. I've seen the anime scene. I've heard that one's better. That scene is way better. He's way more out of his head. He's at the edge of his sanity, and he just wants to go up there. Whereas here, the actor's performance doesn't convey it enough. And then he dies, and then she's like, I'm gonna get revenge on this character named Nova, who's like mentioned through the entire film, and we only get like a scene or two of him, and he doesn't say a word at all. So that's the second half of the film. The first half of the film, though, is pretty good. And I know I just made a complaint about that second half of the film. We're going to talk about the first half of the film now. It's a little out of sorts, but I'm going to talk about it. And I'm going to tell you the synopsis as well. Now, Dr. Ito, played by Christoph Waltz, very good by Christoph Waltz, by the way, finds a robotic head in a junk pile, where he puts it to a robot body and names her Alita, after his deceased daughter. And he's, creates her, shows her the world, eating oranges, and, and some people say, CG can't convey, I've heard people complain that CG animation can't convey feelings like traditional animation. And most part that's true, but they blend it with an actual human being actress, and it's very well. Rosa Salazar does very well emoting her character. Even though she's a robot, she does very good. And I like the character of Alita to a certain point, because they have to bow down to these tropes that we have in all these robot films. Specifically the Iron Giant or Star Kid, where someone finds something really cool, robotic, and it has to be a weapon. It has to have done something bad. It has to be, it can't just be, a robot head from a mannequin star. No. She was a weapon of sorts. Could have been for the bad guy, and I'm not 100% sure. I just know that she keeps having flashbacks. To me, they don't really explain what kind of weapon she is, but it was from the point in the film where they find this downed ship, and she dives in, she finds a robot body, and she connects it that it's hers. And I went, oh no, they're doing this. They're gonna make her, she is a weapon of destruction. And I'm like, why do movies have to do this? Why can't she just be a robot head? Why does she have to be a dangerous weapon? It's the Iron Giant all over again. Like I said, my glasses fogged up by doing that. Because the thing about the Iron Giant is I love that movie. But what gets me every time is that it's a weapon of destruction. And it works for that film. But every, I found something kind of film from that point on does that trope. Iron Giant. Star Kid. This movie. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. But, it's a dangerous weapon. No, just let it be anything else. She could have just been a robotic head he found in a junkyard, and that was that. You could have taken that part up too, and you could have, whatever. I understand that's probably from the anime, and that's probably why it seems cliche, is because it's from 1993, and earlier, from the manga, whatever. That's probably from that. But to me, it's just too cliche, and that's probably why it seems cliche, is because they took that from the original source material. But I'm just saying. However, the way they built this world, the way it looks, the way things are animated, the idea of a regular world where there's something else in the sky that promises more. It's like the Matrix, you know what I mean? It's really cool, but it's not as alarming as the Matrix. Whereas the Matrix looks like a normal world, and it's, you know. And then you just got this post-apocalypse thing in the Matrix. That's really what I didn't care for in those Matrix movies. And then the last two took place mostly in the post-apocalyptic world, and I was like, no. You introduced the Matrix. This it can be anything, and but no. Anyway, I liked this, the way that the world worked, the scope, and the scale of it. I wish I could have seen this in IMAX because it would have been cool. The acting in this film is pretty good, from Rosa Salazar to Christoph Waltz to Jennifer Connelly. Even Ed Skrein and Jackie Earle Haley have good scenes in this, and Mahershala Ali, and this is another negative for me. So, like I said, Nova is this overarching villain. He is essentially the main villain, but Mahershala Ali's character, whose name I forgot, is sort of the villain of the film. But he's not treated. He is the main villain of the film to me, but he's not treated like the main villain because they're always talking about Nova this, Nova that, Nova. But this guy is essentially the final boss of the film, But he's not treated that way because he dies and it's like, oh, but Nova's still up there. So it's not over yet. And it's just like, he's just a henchman, but he's treated, like the first boss in a video game. And he's essentially, like I said, he's the main villain of the film, but he's essentially just a henchman, basically. And also, I felt like the character arc for Jennifer Connelly's character, it's kind of funny because she's apparently what I got from this was she is Christoph Waltz's ex-wife in this, Ito's ex-wife. She lost her daughter, she became evil, and then he rebuilt Alita essentially, and then she's still evil, but then by the end, she helps her save Hugo, and then she dies because of it. Because no redemption arc in a movie or TV show can end happy. Nope. They get their redemption, and then they die, because that's how it works. That's not how it works. You need to have the redemption arc end, and letting them savor the redemption, not just die. And I hate that in films and TV where we get this character redemption arc and they die. It's one thing if they sacrifice themselves for the redemption, like, say, Darth Vader, or Kylo Ren, that's what I meant. To an extent, they sacrifice themselves to get that arc. But for her to just die off screen and show that she's like eyeballs and a thing, she's technically dead, I guess, but it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't work for me. Overall, I gotta say, this film is actually pretty good. I have problems with it, so it's kind of a mixed bag for me. But the way it looks, the way it feels, it looks like what you would get if James Cameron and Robert Rodriguez did a film together. It's really good. Also, I got a complaint though. Why is Alita Hispanic? You think they would have got an Asian actress to play the role? And I want an answer other than because Robert Rodriguez is a director, and so they have to be Spanish. Because that's, to me, is stupid. She's a great actress, she did a great job, but why couldn't she be Asian? Because the character in the manga and the anime was Asian. It's an Asian origin. Christoph Waltz's name is Dr. Ito, which is Japanese. But Christoph Waltz is like German or something. No, he's not British. Is he Swedish? But he has like a normal accent in this. It's really weird. I understand they're going for it different, but if you're basing something off an anime, this was a complaint people had about. One of the many complaints they had about Dragon Ball Evolution is that the actor who played Goku wasn't of Asian descent. Now, I myself never thought of the characters in Dragon Ball as being Asian, but I see the point that it's a Japanese anime and manga, so they should be Japanese. That's another complaint they had for Scarlett Johansson in Ghost in the Shell. And here, like for those, fine. Justin Chatwin's okay. Scarlett Johansson is Scarlett Johansson, so I ain't gonna complain about that. But for here, I think I see the point. They should have gotten someone who was Japanese to do the role, but Rosa Salazar did do a pretty good job. So I'm not gonna complain. However, I am going to say that this movie, to me, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's pretty good. And I think it's a good start to my little film series thing I'm doing, review series, whatever. ABC reviews, whatever I'm going to call it. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts? And yes, I would like a sequel. So, you know I'm not hating on it. I do like this movie. I'd watch it again. I've watched it twice so far, and I bought it after watching it with my son. So obviously, I like it, and obviously I want a sequel for this. So yes, and a 7 out of 10. So what are your thoughts on Alita Battle Angel? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Let's try to hold these up whenever I have the case. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.